Hello everyone, I'm Trisha, it's me Jenny. It's time for another Not Naked video response to Trisha Hershberger's series Naked Truth, where we talk as candidly and truthfully as possible about the subject of her choosing, straight out the shower, no makeup, wet hair, first take, one take, etc, etc, no makeup, blah 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 blah. Most people choose to do it naked, I choose not to, but either way it's not a sexy time thing, it's a being vulnerable and honest and, you know, talking about subject. And yeah, today's subject is Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. And yeah, like, the thing is, it's going to be difficult to actually talk about during this video because for this particular season I have been doing podcasts with a bunch of my internet friends every week and doing, you know, 2 to like an hour to 2.5 hour, 3 hour long discussions on every single episode with my particularly nerdy friends. And the thing that I've really enjoyed about discussing it is the fact that I like the different interest in Game of Thrones, what you get out of it. I have some people that I know who watch it just for the sexual content, and some of my friends watch it for the really over crazy fan theories, and some people watch it because they love the books, and some people watch it because they love, you know, the actors. And the reason why I started watching it was because I was like, oh, Sean Bean's in something, that's pretty nifty. Oh, and they got Lena Headey too. Awesome, that sounds pretty cool. It must be pretty cool. It's probably like Lord of the Rings for TV. Probably not as good as Lord of the Rings, but probably Lord of the Rings for TV, so I might as well watch it. And I watched the first episode and I was like, I'm never watching this again! Never again! No! And then a couple of weeks later I came back to it, and or maybe a year later I came back to it, I don't know. And after I think 3 failed attempts I finally, you know, past that I don't know, desensitization threshold, so I could watch the gore and kind of, you know, not watch the sex. And now I'm completely desensitized. I'm like, bring on the boobies. But it took me a good couple of attempts to get to that point. HBO has definitely done a lot to reduce, like, seriously take down my threshold for gore, violence and sexual content, but there we go. That's something, I guess. Psychology changed by Game of Thrones. Yeah, and I really enjoy it. I really like the different aspects you can get out of it. And as someone who started watching the series and then read the books, I really enjoy, like I've talked about it before, how I really like cross-media alternate universe concepts. Like, I love reading the Harry Potter books and reading the Harry Potter films, and I always view those two things as 2 separate universes. Even if it's really very accurate, I always view it as 2 separate universes, and I pride myself on my ability to separate those 2 universes. And for the most part I don't view one of them as the pinnacle of the universe and the other one as kind of like a downward version of the universe. Same with other adaptations, like I have multiple versions of the same Jane Austen stories on DVD, but, you know, I enjoy them equally, or I don't enjoy them equally, depending on the adaptation on hand. And with Game of Thrones, I really enjoy the series and I really enjoy the books, and they're for very different reasons. And this season, particularly season 6, I started the season slightly disappointed because there was a lot of really amazing things from the books that weren't featured or were put to the wayside, like Lady Stoneheart, or the whole Dawn plotline last season was not as good as it was in the books. But there's things that they've done in the series that have outshone the books in different ways, and the thing that I learnt from watching this season is because they're not running from the books so much anymore, they've truly embraced the fact that they are not the books. They are not that media of storytelling. They are a TV storytelling. So what they can excel in is directorial storytelling, psychological concepts through, like, what the directions can do. Things like music, things like camera movements and angles and shots, and particularly in this last episode, as I was talking to with my friends, things like the window shot from the last episode was phenomenal and something you couldn't really express in just words. The music for in the opening section, you can't express that emotion and that rhythm in words in the same way. And the way that they've built this particular season and the way that they've done the directorial themes, like there's a particular shot of Jon Snow and there's a particular shot of Daenerys from last season that match up. Like, things like that you can't express in words. You can do different ways of doing similar themes, but you just can't do it in the same way. Same with musical bits. Like, they've really truly embraced the fact that they are a TV show, they are telling a different story, something that's very much more along the lines of visual and acoustic, and obviously emotionally interesting and well written, but it's not the same as the books. And this season I've come to terms truly with the fact that the books are completely separate. Like, I've always viewed them as separate universes. I've always viewed the characters as looking different and sounding different than they are in the series. Not, as I said, enjoying them equally, but knowing that they're very separate universes. This season I've really come to terms with the fact that it's a TV show that's indulging in being a great TV show. And the fact that it's different from the books means that anything that I'm disappointed that wasn't in the series, I know is going to be in the books. I know it's going to be there. So I don't even need to worry about it not being in the series, because the series is its own thing. And yeah, I love it so much. I love the costumes and the colours and the attention to realism in a non-realistic setting. The dragons, spoiler alert if that's a spoiler, are some of the best animated bits of animation I have seen on TV or movies. Like, the whole, like, my go-to, like, bad animation, which is shocking, and I know it's terrible, it's the most recent Hobbit films. I could see the green screen a lot, while Game of Thrones, they use their budget very effectively, and those dragons are so cool. They are so cool. And yeah, so yeah, I said things. Those are my thoughts on Game of Thrones. I don't think I spoiled anyone too much. There are dragons. If you didn't know that, then clearly you are very culturally, you are good at hiding under that rock. Good job on you. Yeah, and I'm excited to see where the series goes and how it deviates, and whether or not they'll bring in aspects. Like, I like how they've combined some characters from the books to the series, so I think they might do that some more next season. I'm interested to see how they wrap up the plot lines. I think it's going to be a very different feel from the books to the series. I think the books have a very pacifist, I think they're going to have a very, you know, in the end it's going to be a kind of not so much a good versus evil type thing. It's going to be a bit more complex and a little bit more like maybe the final conclusion to the White Walkers is going to be something more political and more pacty, for lack of a better term. It's going to be more of a parley and a compromise, with some bittersweetness. Well, I've got the feeling, even though we might have an aspect of that in the TV series, I think the TV series is going to be a bit more like, let's kill the evil bad guys. Good guys win, plus dragons. Yeah, there's things that they've done in the series that could not have been done in the books, and there's things that have been done in the books that have not been done in the series, and both of them I really enjoy, and it makes my little my little nerd heart sing. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Feel free to comment. I will hopefully see you guys all next week for another Naked Truth. And I'm so sorry, Trisha. I am so sorry. I've just sent you an email with like 7 Naked Truths, which I forgot to send you, and it's really bad. And yeah, I'm so sorry. You don't have to watch any of them. But they're all there. They are all there. I've done every single Naked Truth from this year. So, they're all there, and I'm so sorry I have not sent you any of them. But there we go, and I am terrible at this. Thank you for watching. Feel free to comment. I'm so sorry, Trisha. So very sorry. But if you don't watch last week's video, I hope you get better soon, and Larry goes on his way. But there's also lots of videos if you want to watch them. And I'll also link on Principle to Project Chronicle, which is the channel that I've been collaborating with to do the episode analysis. If anyone's interested in hearing me ramble on about Game of Thrones for several hours at a time, usually at early hours of the morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning. If you want to hear me very sleepily talk about Game of Thrones, link in the description. And yeah, thank you for watching. Feel free to comment. I'm gonna go to bed. It is late. Bye guys.